Okay, quick recap for those of you that were unable to attend class on Monday or want a refresher of how we got started working with the Spotify API through glitch.com. You jump over to glitch.com, and in the upper right hand corner here, there's sign in, and choose sign in with GitHub. This will redirect you over to the GitHub page. If you've not signed in, it will ask you to sign in to GitHub at this point, and you can choose authorize Fog Creek. At that point, you will come back over to glitch.com, and we do a search up here for Spotify. And our search for Spotify under the teams here, we can go and view the Spotify team, and they have 3 pinned projects here at the top, and we're working through the Spotify Playground. So you click on Spotify Playground, you can view the output of the project here. And what we want to do is just down here on the bottom right hand side, remix your own. And so under the hood, what it did, it's doing a git clone or git fork, and we have a copy of their repository. And we can come in here now and start working with this. And so it launches the README markdown here. You can click the sunglasses here, it says show live, and you'll get a live preview of the page. Notice ours isn't working. The other option down here at the left is the tools. Hit tools and hit logs, and you'll see there's an error, unauthorized. And this is all taken care of right here in the getting started section of the README. It says registering your app, or it explains up here we have to have credentials and to register our app at developer@spotify.com. So we head over to Spotify's developer dashboard and log in here. So once we've logged in with Spotify, right here on our dashboard, we can create a new application, and we can call this our glitch experiment, working with glitch.com. Use any name description you want. What are you building? You don't know. Click next, and we agree to their terms of service. We are not building a commercial service. And at that point, we now have a client ID. And so we go back to our README. After registering your app at developer@spotify.com/dashboard, put your app's client ID and secret into the .env file. And so notice it's got a little key here. Our .env file is secret, and we're the only ones that can see it. There's an explanation about that there. And so we can copy the secret as well. So client ID, client secret. And now we can go back here, and this page will refresh, and everything will start working. So now we're at a point where we can go back to the README and start with the assignment. And so the challenges here, the pink challenge, search for a track. We'll work through number 1 again here like we did in class. It says change the song that shows up. Hint, look in server.js for the API call. So here we can right click on the page and go to inspect, and we can go to console, and they do something really neat. They use console log grouping. Oops, just wanted to make that a little bigger. They use console log grouping, so this kind of hot pink section here, and we can see the response here from search track. So we can see the track that's returned, and that's what's rendering here. And so the assignment, the first challenge here, it asks us to change the song that shows up. And so let's go look in server.js. And we have some authorization code, and then we have some API calls, and here is a search track, and it's calling Spotify API.search tracks for the track Dancing Queen. And so we will change this. Speaking of Queen, we could do Bohemian Rhapsody, if I can spell that correctly. And so now we can see that it switched over. And notice every time we change things, we can hit Command S to save, or Control S on Windows, and it'll say, hey, glitch is automatically saving. So every time we change these files, it's updating here on the front end for us automatically. And so the other challenges are outlined in the README. Change the artist name in addition to the song name. Or not change it, sorry, display the artist name in addition to the song name. And that's where we go back in and look at those API calls. Let's work through that one really quick too. So we go back and hit inspect again, and we can see the data that's coming to us in the front end. And if we look at this response from search tracked, artist is actually an array. And so we go into client.js and we look at what search track is doing. So it puts the track name into an H3 tag and appends it inside the container. So we will just copy this code and we'll put a comment here. We want to display the artist name, and I'll dial this down a little bit. Let's go with an H5. And so underneath, and we'll just use the first artist. So data.artists, and the first item in that array would be 0, and then we can pull in the name. And so now we see it's Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. So now the next step that we need to do, this is fine and good, and it's committing and saving our work here within Glitch. But if Glitch goes down, we have no way to get to our work. So we want to go back down to the tools palette at the bottom, and we want to do get, import, and export. And we want to click grant access. It's a link there in the wording. And so we are authorizing Fog Creek to access our repositories. And so now we go back to tools and we can do get, import, and export. And there is export to GitHub right here. And so we click export to GitHub and it tells us your GitHub repository needs to have at least one file in it already. This will export your project to the glitch branch. Okay, so that's fine. So we're going to open a new tab, just leave that alone. We're going to go to github.com, right? And we want to create a repository. And the repository name, I'm just going to call it glitch demo. You call it whatever you want. We're working with Spotify and glitch. We call it glitch Spotify. Put that in the description. Glitch Spotify experiment. And then we're going to cheat here. We're going to check this box, initialize this repository with a README. So that satisfies the requirements that Glitch wants, in that this is already a created repository and it has at least one file in it. We'll copy out of the URL bar our username and the name of the repository. So now I'll come back over here, hit export to GitHub again, and here I can fill in my information and click OK. It gives us an opportunity here to update the commit message. Not too worried about that. And then we get the status over here on the right side of the screen, exporting to GitHub, and that was successful. So now we can come over here. We see that this branch glitch was pushed. So we can just hit compare and pull request. And we can click create pull request. It'll come over here. It's going to want to merge it into master. And so we will just hit merge pull request and confirm merge. And what we've just done is we've pulled all of our code over. We can hit delete branch on this too. We've pulled all of our code over to the master branch of our repository. So when we're on the master branch, we see all of our code that we just changed. So I'm going to click, actually let's go to clone or download, and clone with HTTPS. And so we just want to copy this. We copy the URL for our repository, and we're going to leave our work that we've done right here alone. And we're going to switch to a new glitch project. So we're going to click new project, and this we're going to clone from a Git repo. So this is going to connect glitch to GitHub from the very start of this. And so we paste in our URL, click OK. Notice our project name changed up here. So the app's getting started again. Now, one thing to take note of, and you'll see when this loads, our environment is going to be missing, and we're not going to be able to preview. It's the live preview is not going to work. So I'm going to close our old tab out, and we'll wait for this to finish loading. Now that our project has loaded, we can click show, and we can see again it's not working. That's to be expected. Really quick, it's very easy to fix this. We're going to click the drop down on the top left. We're going to click switch project, and we're going to go back to the project where we were exploring our API. We're just going to copy this whole file. It's just Command A, Command C, or Control A, Control C. Select all that and copy it. Come back over here. We're going to hit switch project again. We're going to go back to the one that came out of GitHub. We're just going to click new file right here. We'll call it .env and click add file. So notice we have the little key, .env is here, and now we can paste this in. And then we can go back, and we're right back where we left off. The difference being, this is now connected to our GitHub repo. So as we fix things and we make changes to our files, so we'll come in here and say that this is Lee's Spotify API Playground and that the header is Lee's Spotify API Playground, then we can come over here and see that those changes have been made. We can now go down to Tools and we can click on Logs. And Logs also lets us see there's a console button here, so we can open a console in the bottom tray. And in here, all of our Git commands work. So we can do Git status, and we can see, oh, I've modified this file. A lot of people are asking, what is shrinkwrap.yaml? You can ignore this. It's no big deal. You can view this file if you want to see what it does. You can run the head command, and it just shrink wraps the packages that are installed, and it describes how this project's operating. So it's nothing we need to be too worried about. Let me put a clear in here so we can do Git status again. We're on branch master, and we've modified index.html. We can copy this, and we can add that file. And then we can do git commit -m changed page title, right? And so we hit enter, and it didn't run. It says fatal empty ident name, right? So all we need to do is run these two commands one at a time, just like it tells us to. So we configure our user email. So that was my sample email here. And then we can config our username. And at this point, we can now run that command again, git commit -m change page title, and now it actually committed. And so now we can run git push. And so the changes that we made within Glitch, we were able to commit to the master branch, which is what we're operating off of right here, and push those up into GitHub. And so now when we come over here and refresh the page in GitHub, we can see 20 seconds ago, student changed the page title. And we can click on that and see the change that was made. And so as you work through and solve these problems, solve the challenges outlined in the README, you just pop in here as you solve them and make, git commit, add and git commit your changes and push those back up so that your code is backed up into GitHub.